It's just a preference. Gender identity, dating, and culture. When discussing gender identity, sexuality, and sex, there are an uncountable number of combinations to consider. Every year in cities all over the world, parades and celebrations are held in honor of the progress made by decades and generations of civil rights advocates. One of the best-kept secrets and most unfortunate aspects of intra-community dynamics is the extent of gatekeepers and those who feel it is their responsibility to classify and declassify others as they see fit. The spectrum that we all experience gender, sexuality, and identity across is endless. Cisgender is the most common gender identity that most people will understand. When your gender identity matches the sex you were assigned at birth, male or female, you are a cisgendered person. Some consider this to be the norm, but underestimate the frequency in which assigned sex, gender identity, and presentation intermingle in various combinations and forms. Alternatively to cisgender, the transgender umbrella offers a multitude of options for those who don't fall into the cisgender category. Some identities that fall under the transgender umbrella are significantly more broad than that of cisgender explanations. The way a person expresses their gender, feminine, masculine, or genderless, has no bearing on their identity or sexuality. That presentation holds no ground when it comes to their gender identity. A cisgendered, masculine-identifying male can walk down the street wearing the exact same outfit as a cisgendered, feminine-identifying female with no questions as to how he feels about himself. Gender is primarily decided on a cultural level, dictating how a man, woman, or everything between and outside of should act and dress. Culturally, gender identity and expression can both vary. Cultures such as the Navajos' impression on the spectrum of gender and gender expression is vastly different from our own in Western societies. They find value in those who identify as both man and woman, calling them two-spirit rather than interchanging their gender identity, expression, and sex as American culture often does. Many different identities and orientations can allow for fluctuation, such as demisexual, pansexual, and asexual or aromantic. According to Gendered Lives, Communication, Gender, and Culture by Natalie Fixmer-Orez and Julia T. Wood, gender even plays a significant role in interpersonal and romantic relationships. Regardless of gender, an asexual individual can still experience romantic feelings for another person and maintain a healthy, happy relationship according to the Aromantic Spectrum Unit for Recognition, Education, and Advocacy. The separation of sexual and romantic love is known as the split attraction model. Those who are trans may reject or dislike their assigned gender, but don't inherently experience sexuality changes with it. Male to female trans folks are often strictly attracted to women just as they would have if they weren't transgender or vice versa. Those who assigned it female at birth who embrace a different gender still maintain their attraction to men. Gender holds no bearing on sexual or romantic attraction. While many people of many different sexual identities, bisexual, pansexual, omnisexual, demisexual, etc., don't mind whatever their partner's physicality ends up being, some do. This isn't inherently a derogatory or intolerant perspective to hold against potential dating or sexual partners. A simple preference of what kind of genitals on a person you're attracted to is not the same as rejecting someone simply because of their gender or sexual identity, just like an individual with an asexual identity doesn't turn down every potential romantic partner because they have genitals, period. That would take it away from a sexual preference, much like kink is appealing to some and not to others, creating a barrier of sexual preferences, and shove it directly into potential transphobia. To reject or ridicule someone simply based on their gender identity not matching their physical bodies digresses from genital preference and simple sexual gratification in a relationship and falls under transphobia, biphobia, and other inherently toxic mindsets. Simply ask. Communicating your wants, needs, and preferences enhances not only the potential success rate of your relationship, but also your overall fulfillment in said relationship. To not consider an individual simply because of their original birth certificate doesn't match the identity they feel most comfortable with is intolerant, toxic, and harmful to the LGBT community and its journey to grant validity, confidence, and love to all its members across the globe.